Listen, for a fact, the ancient world was much more technologically advanced than we were told. They built pyramids, performed surgery, brought the knowledge of the atmospheres to the world, and even manipulated DNA. Where did they get such knowledge in the ancient world? Today's medicine, science, and technology is all, at least a significant portion, based on ancient knowledge. Look, the fact that they were able to create accurate lunar and solar calendars suggests they were able to calculate the movements of heavenly bodies and identify patterns. The priests were the keepers of the secret science that to the masses was just sorcery. Our medical professionals, chemists, biologists, and such would have been the priests of old. Difference is the science is not guarded from the populations in the same manner. Now, whether we want to believe it or not, the priests, who were the doctors and scientists of their time, and sorcerers, gave credit to whom we refer to today as the gods. There are two dominating images used as symbols in the medical industry. As we continue, let's keep current events in mind. Who or what organization or individuals is the mouthpiece or mouthpieces for the world? Who is making policy that affects the entire world in the name of peace and restoration? Okay, so the first image you see here is the Caduceus. Let's see what it means. The Caduceus, also known as the Wand of Hermes, was a symbol of the Greek god Hermes, who carried a staff or rod in his various exploits. This staff was represented by two serpents in the form of a double helix, and sometimes surmounted by wings. In ancient Greece, the two entwined serpents symbolized, among other things, rebirth and regeneration, and therefore they were not viewed negatively. The caduceus was depicted being carried in the left hand of the Greek god Hermes, or Mercury, who was the messenger of the Greek gods, god of the dead and protector of merchants, gamblers, liars, and thieves. The caduceus is sometimes used as a symbol for medicine, especially in North America, conflating it with the traditional medical symbol, the rod of Asclepius, which was only a single snake and no wings. Its association with medicine is sometimes traced to Roman mythology, which describes the god Mercury, the Roman version of Hermes, seeing two serpents entwined in mortal combat, separating them with its wand. Mercury brought about peace between the snake, and as a result, the caduceus came to be seen as a sign of restoration and peace. Correspondingly, in ancient Rome, Livy referred to the caducerator, the caducetor, as one who negotiated peace arrangements under the diplomatic protection of the caduceus he carried. The caduceus may also have provided the basis for the astrological symbol representing the planet Mercury. The Latin word caduceus is an adaptation of Greek Kyrikion, meaning herald's wand or staff, deriving from kyrios, meaning herald or public messenger. We've heard that word messenger thrown around quite a lot with the lollipop, right? Okay, so the next symbol is the rod of Asclepius. If you can see it on your screen, it's a rod with a single serpent entwined around it. So we'll take a deeper look at that to see what it means. The rod of Asclepius and Caduceus, two ancient symbols. The rod of Asclepius is an ancient Greek symbol associated with medicine, consisting of a serpent coiled around a rod. In ancient Greek religion and mythology, Asclepius was the god of medicine and healing. His daughters are Hygienia, goddess of cleanliness; Iaso, goddess of recuperation from illness; Asazo, goddess of the healing process; Aglia, the goddess of splendor and adornment; and Panacea, goddess of universal remedy.
The myth of Asclepius. Asclepius is the god of healing. He is the son of Apollo, god of healing, truth, and prophecy, and the nymph, Coronis. While pregnant with Asclepius, Coronis secretly took a second mortal lover. When Apollo found out, he sent Artemis to kill her, while Coronis was burned on the funeral pyre. Apollo felt pity and rescued the unborn child from the corpse. Asclepius was taught about medicine and healing by the wise centaur Chiron and became so skilled in it that he succeeded in bringing one of his patients back from the dead. Zeus, king of the gods, felt that the immortality of the gods was threatened and struck down the healer with a thunderbolt. At Apollo's request, Asclepius was placed among the stars of Ophiuchus, the serpent healer.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So here's where it gets good for Israel, because see, I hope you understand and see what's going on here. The symbols that are in use in the medical industry shows and demonstrates to us what spirit they are walking in, what spirit is in control. But you see, the Most High has given his children a rod and a staff. So let's take a look at what our rod and our staff is.
And Moshe answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, Yah have not appeared unto thee. And the Most High said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. Exodus chapter number 7, verse 1. And the Most High said unto Moshe, See, I have made thee an Elohim to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. Thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh, that he send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Mitzrayim by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yah, that when I stretch forth mine hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moshe and Aaron did as the Most High commanded them, so did they. And Moshe was 80 old, and Aaron 80 old, when they spake unto Pharaoh. And the Most High spake unto Moshe and unto Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh speak unto you, saying, Show a miracle for you, then thou shalt say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moshe and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did as the Most High had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh, and it became his servants, and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did in like manner with their enchantments, for they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods.
Okay, so when you consider that the Egyptians at that time was the epitome of science and knowledge and technology, and here we have Moshe and Aaron before them, and we understand the symbolism and the gods and that was behind the Egyptians. And so here's Moshe and Aaron
with a rod, and he cast down that rod, and it becomes a serpent. And we see the Egyptian priests who were the top of the world at that time for medicine and science and knowledge. They cast down their rod, and it becomes a serpent. But Aaron's rod eats up their serpent. And see, we're going through this again today. We see that in the medical industry that they have cast down their rod. But again, Israel, we have a rod as well. Numbers 17, verse 1. And the Most High spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and take of every one of them a rod, according to the house of their fathers, of all their princes, according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon his rod, and thou shalt write Aaron's name upon the rod of Levi. For one rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers. And thou shalt lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation before the testimony, where I meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod, whom I shall choose, shall blossom. And I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Israel, whereby they murmur against you. And Moshe spake unto the children of Israel, and every one of their princes gave him a rod apiece, for each prince one, according to their fathers' houses, even 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moshe laid up the 12 rods before the Most High in the tabernacle of witness. And it came to pass that on the morrow Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded, and brought forth buds, and blossomed, and yielded almonds. And Moses brought out all the rods from before the Most High unto the children of Israel, and they looked, and took every man his rod. And the Most High said unto Moshe, Bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony, to be kept for a token against the rebels. And thou shalt quite take away their murmurings from before me, that they die not. And Moshe did so as the Most High commanded him to do. Okay, so there's one last story, but I'm not going to read it. You can go and look it up for yourself. It's in Numbers chapter number 21. It's the story about the brazen serpent that Moses lifted up while the children of Israel were in the wilderness. So Moses would lift up there was a brazen or bronze serpent that was wrapped around a rod, and as long as Moses held that rod up, the children of Israel would look upon that rod, they would be healed from what was called the fiery serpents. Now, the fiery serpents would bite them, and they would, fall dead, get sick, or whatever. And as long as Moses held it up and they looked upon it, they would be healed. And that's an actual phenomenon that happens. There's a some sort of worm or something that bites people, and they get sick, and in some cases they die. And the way to remove that is to stick a rod like thing into the flesh, and wrap that piece of worm, tapeworm, whatever it is, wrap it around and pull it out. And you get this kind of same image of the rod of Asclepius with the serpent wrapped around a staff. Pretty interesting, so you should look into that. But anyway, that's just kind of summarized, and I hope we get the picture here and understand what's going on. I hope we can make the connections, because the Most High was trying to tell us something. He was showing us something through the historical events, and they're kind of repeating themselves again today here in present day Egypt, where we see that a rod has been cast down, right? But we have a rod. The Most High has given his children a rod, and that rod is found in the house of Aaron. Aaron was the priest. Now, keep in mind that what the rod and staff symbolized in the ancient world, and what the priests represented. It's not what we think they were. They were the scientists. These, even in Israel, our priests were our doctors. They were our scientists, right? And so the Most High was showing us that it was with the law, the Torah, that our law would be found. This is why Aaron, who was the priest, this is why his rod budded. The Most High was showing us, and so what that means for us is that we have to come out of the Babylon, the Egyptian system, and we have to pick up our own rod, right? Our healing is in the diet that the Most High gave us. That's our rod, right? Our healing is in the herbs that He gave us to eat. That is our rod, right? All right. So, man, I hope that you get this, and I hope that you can let this marinate, let it sizzle in your spirit. And with that, I'm going to say shalom, family.
Cool, like, this the script, Mike. Make them think twice. Get that man some act right. Man, that's cool, ice. Get it and roll dice. Bet it all, gave it all nice. Sweat it all night. Now it's morning and everything ain't alright. Time to settle, yeah, them bruised about to take flight. This to take off that Bernie never made off. A message for the haters, fed my kids to alligators. Now it's time for them to wake up. Shine is the pay up, the sign, that's the day up. We on code, that's the big trust. No friends in the world, yeah, it's just us. No justice, no peace, this is pressure. The way you walk, the way I move on cold. Where your heart at, the light gon' show. Breathe in my head like a map through the snow. I can feel it in the air, yeah, let's go, bro. They on cold, listen, they on cold. Get with them, they on cold. My brother, my sister, we on cold. Time's up, decision, we on cold. We on cold. Keep the symbols, tell them pay me what they owe me. For my fathers and my mothers, yeah, that's all me. For my sisters and my brother, yeah, that's all me. If I see my brother fall, that's all me. All for one, one for all. Better call me. Bantus round the world, we an army. No matter what you try, about that high G, count that millions round the world. Man, we family. One nation under Yah, this is culture. Eyes on the vulture. Clean meat up on the altar. Feet levitating, boy, I'm walking on water. All about that code, it's a new world order. The way I walk, the way I move on cold. Where your heart at, the light gon' show. Breathe in my head like a map through the snow. I can feel it in the air, yeah, let's go, bro. They on cold, listen, they on cold. Get with them, they on cold. My brother, my sister, we on cold. Time's up, decision, we on cold. We on cold. Double for the trouble, see us rise from the rubble. Teardrops for the martyrs in the struggle. They burn it down, turn the blaze into the muscle. Man, we died for it, live for the moment. Got my back up in the corner, throw the facts on them shoulders. Gain traction, moving with the faction. Black ain't a tribe, it's a fashion. Ashes on my head for the lost one. Cut the dread, man, they dead, that's the cost, son. Hold me down, this is war, come and get some. Helmet on my head, this the code that we live by. Yakub, the name, man, we been fire. The way you walk, the way I move on cold. Where your heart at, the light gon' show. Breathe in my head like a map through the snow. I can feel it in the air, yeah, let's go, bro. They on cold, listen, they on cold. Get with them, they on cold. My brother, my sister, we on cold. Time's up, decision, we on cold. We on cold. Cool, like, this the script, Mike. Make them think twice. Get that man some act right. Man, that's cool, ice. Get it and roll dice. Bet it all, gave it all nice. Sweat it all nice.